Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
Jared Bednar is one of your best friends in the world, the head coach of the Avalanche. So dare I say you'd be pulling for Colorado, or should I not go out on that limb?
No, I think we'll stay off which side we're going to cheer for. But I will tell you, with friends on both sides, much like you have, right? Like, that's the thing about you and I getting old, is we know everybody around the league, and you have friends playing for both sides, or you have friends on the management side, or on the broadcast side, whatever it may be. The one thing that I will say, and I think you and I talked about this the last time I was on your show, when you look at the Central Division right now with Dallas, who will finish in first place, and then you've got Winnipeg, Colorado playing for home ice, the disappointment is one of those three teams won't be going on to round 2 of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Now, if you want to break it down, Winnipeg's got the best goaltender. There's no question about it. Connor Hellebuck, or Laurent Brossoit for that matter, their number 2, has been sensational for the last number of years, and especially when LB came back here to Winnipeg this year, I think it gave all the forwards, all the defense inside that Jets locker room even this much more confidence moving forward to get to where they wanted to be, and that's now having a good chance to play in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And boy, based on what we've seen at the end of the week here, Jared Bednar's called out his goaltender. Georgiev has not been good, and they don't really have a legitimate backup. So when you get to this point and moving forward next weekend, starting the Stanley Cup playoffs, if you don't have goaltending, you're in a heap of trouble.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
I want to ask you this. If it's your last supper, what are you making? What are you wanting served?
That's an easy one. It is turkey dinner with mashed potatoes and the gravy. I love a big, turkey dinner. Thanksgiving dinner.
Here, big old beef steak, baked potato, Caesar salad, and garlic toast. That would be my last supper.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the RP Show. We're getting after it on a Tuesday. I had my bell somewhere. Ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling. Hi. Welcome to episode number 1223. It literally is around here somewhere. You think I'd be ready to go. Here on Game Plus Television, Key Radio, and the streams. Hey, Moose and I getting in a fight today. Our teams are playing. Let's bring him in. Moose is at the Game Plus studios in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. No Leafs shirt on him. I got my Panthers gear on me today. It's a very big day. We got breaking news coming up. Moose, how are things? What's going on at Game Plus today at Anthem Sports?
Yeah, things are great, man. It's always good to come in here. It's a vibe when you roll into this building, and today it's a vibe. Lots of people rolling into the place. Game day. People are humming about Austin Matthews. Will he get to 70 goals? So, lots cooking here in at the mothership today.
Well, again, please say hey for me. And the guests today are Lee Genier, our longtime friend, now the president of the Saskatchewan Rattlers. He'll tell you the Tom Brady of sports executiveship. Lee Genier joining us later on in hour 1. And in hour 2, Kevin Karius of Sports 1440 Edmonton to talk about, I'll tell you what, you heard that was Joe Madden. That was the clip coming in. She correctly picked that McDavid was going to get 100 assists last night, and she's predicted that Cooch is going to do it tomorrow night, that he's going to get 100 too. What a season. Can you hit the quick 6 show horn, please, Director Jordan? We'll start the show. I have located the bell. It's always in the last place you look.
Damn.
We have breaking news on this Tuesday. The Buffalo Sabres have fired head coach Don Granato, making him the 7th NHL coach to be ousted this season. The move came after the Sabres closed their season with a 4-2 win at Tampa Bay last night. The Sabres failed to make the playoffs for the 13th consecutive season. So before we get into all the other quick 6 show topics, you brought this up before we went to air that clearly Don Granato is not going to win Coach of the Year in the National Hockey League. He couldn't even win Coach for the Year. And I'll be honest, I had to look it up. The standings, they finished 5 points out of a playoff spot. but they were a team that I had picked to make it. This was the year I had them picked. And to be honest, obviously the general manager, Kevin Adams, and the owners, the Pagula family down there in Buffalo, Darren, they had the same expectations. They're a very good but very young team. We watched them here in Sunrise on Saturday night. They're a Team Canada alumni team. Dylan Cousins, the workhorse from Whitehorse. Owen Power, Peyton Krebs. Alex Tuck wasn't on Team Canada, but hell of a player. He's American, I think. Zach Benson should have been on Team Canada. Ukko-Pekka Laukkanen, the goalie, he's got an above 500 record. Pretty good stats on a below 500 team. But I guess my thinking is, that's all I can think. They did not make the playoffs, and that was the expectation. Therefore, you got to go. That's my take. What's
that
yours?
is. I agree. The expectations were there that you have to take a step forward. The organization has to have some patience, but 13 seasons, man, there's not a lot of patience left at the top of that team. So you got to have, the voice in there that's going to get the job done. The time is kind of now for the Buffalo Sabres. And as we learn in sports, when that window opens, you better take advantage of it. And so the window's opening now for Buffalo, I think. That young group's getting a little bit older. They're getting some pieces in there, and they need to start producing. So the search will be on. And I think it could be a somewhat desirable coaching spot because of the good young players that you just mentioned.
That's the thing. You hate to see firings ever. At least I do. And teams don't want to fire people. They don't want the turnover. They don't want the volatility. So that's all that I could think is what I've already pointed out, that they expected to make the playoffs. They fell short of that. You're gone. And that's why this race in the East is so important, because if you make the playoffs, who knows how far you go, but you don't get fired. You never get fired if you make the playoffs. Look at Pittsburgh last year. They missed by a hair on the final weekend. Who's gone? Brian Burks. And Hexie too, right? So that's where it comes down to, whether you make the playoffs or not. Okay. Can you hit the horn again, Jordan? Let's see if he's still paying attention. Thank you. That's just the breaking news. Here's the leftovers from last night. People are paying attention to our breakaway bet segment where we pick NHL games because hotelier Jeff, the hotelier of the Stars, said, you and Moose had it wrong. John Carlson scored another big goal. Charlie Lindgren stopped all 16 shots he faced, and the Washington Capitals moved another step closer to the playoffs by beating the Bruins 2-0 on Monday night. Nick Dowd sealed it with an empty netter with 11.7 seconds to go. And now a win at Philly tonight would put Washington back in the playoffs regardless of other results around the NHL. So you and I both thought Boston would win. Let me say this. For basically a 1-0 game, it was a lot more entertaining than you'd think, but Washington just wanted it more. Had Boston won, they'd have clinched first and got a banner, but Washington wanted it even more. So that was the game of the night, and it proved to be that if you like a low-scoring defensive game. And the other leftover that we'll munch on is Warren Fogle scoring twice, Adam Henrique and Dylan Holloway each having a goal and 2 assists, and the Oilers clobbering San Jose 9-3. Connor McDavid had a goal and added his 100th assist of the season, becoming just the 4th player in NHL history to do that. With 100 assists, he joins Gretzky, Lemieux, and Orr. So those are our leftovers from last night. You beat me 6-4. And the Florida Panthers, well, we'll get to tonight's game. So those were my takeaways. What were yours from last night?
Yeah, the Washington game, winning that game. All I'm seeing as a leftover from that is the talk about tonight's game already. And I know we, look to next hour to talk about tonight's games, but everybody's already on to Washington and Philly, and winning you're in. And Philadelphia needs to win the game in regulation. They need to win it outright. So what happens when the game's tied with, a minute to go? Philly's going to pull their goalie. And you're going to see Pittsburgh and Detroit watching that game, thinking that an empty net goal for Washington might eliminate them from the playoffs. So tonight is going to be one heck of a fun night watching hockey.
Oh, yeah. Last night was fun. Every night's fun watching hockey. I just flipped open the text line. 902-518-3033. Sober Carpenter, non-alcoholic craft beers. Ask for them by name at your local beer, wine, and spirit store. Gary with 2 R's in Penticton, BC, writes in. This was at the end of yesterday. He goes, Mr. Rod, great show as usual. Glad you got your face back. As they say, you took one for the team. That sunburn did heal pretty quick. But as I said to my friend Chris from the Bronx, it's living right. It's from living right. I'm very healthy. So that sunburn didn't last too long, but it was ugly in the time that we had it. Which, speaking of, moving on to point 2, it's tonight's NHL games. He and I were supposed to go to the Marlins and Giants tonight on the veteran deal, the VA deal. My buddy Chris from the Bronx, who you met, is a Navy veteran. He goes, all I got to do, Rod, is show up to the box office, show them my card, and they give me 2 tickets, and I'd like you to come with me. We were gonna go, and then I forgot. The Toronto Maple Leafs are here in Florida tonight, taking on the Panthers in their second to last game of the NHL regular season. Leafs forward Austin Matthews enters the game with 69 goals on the season and is looking to become the first player in 30 years to reach 70, and he would be the first American-born player to accomplish the feat. So let's just drop anchor on this for a second. I belong to all these Panthers Facebook groups and so forth, and because of that, I'm getting a baby blue Sasha Barkov jersey tonight. Some guy's like, I'm selling this. It's too big for me. It's size 54. First come, first serve. I said, I'll give you cash tonight on the concourse for that thing. You know those Adidas baby blue ones? If I had my bobblehead here of Barkov, I'd show you. You know the one. I'm paying cash for it tonight, so I'm excited about that. Point being, they're all going off in the Facebook groups about who's going to play, who's not going to play. The Panthers could still clinch first. Is it important? And I'm like, none of that matters. 2 things matter. Me getting my baby blue Panthers jersey, and does Austin Matthews score 70 tonight? That should be the focus. And we're running a poll on our Instagram, the Cats and Bolts show, the podcast that Serena and I host. Is Austin Matthews going to score 70 tonight? I feel like Bob is going to do everything in his power to not let that happen. So I'm going to vote no. Ratings should be high tonight for this one, I would think.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be insane. I will vote. Oh, boy. I'm torn. I don't want to vote yes and jinx it and vote no. You know what? I think he will. He should get it tonight. You don't want to leave it to the last game. The Leafs have been almost distracted playing the game, trying to force Austin to get these goals. You know, looking at him when maybe it's not even the smart play, forcing the puck to him on the power play. But also at the same time, you know, I don't know what kind of lineup that the Panthers are going to ice in their final regular season game. They may keep a lot of players on the shelf. So you don't know who's going to play. Is Bob even going to play? I'm not 100% sure. So for those reasons, I think that Matthews will get the extra ice time. They're short. I think they're only running 18 players, so he's going to play a lot. I think he gets it tonight.
Monty agrees with you in Saskatoon, by the way. Monty's written in and says, Matthews, 70, yes. The Panthers are getting just about everybody back healthy. It sounds like they're not going to rest guys tonight. That's the word that I got out of the morning skate up in Fort Lauderdale today. So should be. It's so big of a game that Serena's even coming, because she doesn't normally do midweek games, but she will be gracing the press box with her presence at Amerin Bank Arena tonight. It's a big one, the Leafs and the Florida Panthers. And as far as going after first place, the Bruins remain 1 point up on the Panthers for first in the Atlantic. They each have 1 game left. And while, hey, stick with me, Darren, you don't have to have played sports to appreciate this, but for those that have no clue why this is so important right now, I could see why Paul Maurice would want to also win and clinch the banner. They would need the Bruins to lose their last game. But also want to rest players and be ready for the playoffs, because this is a playoff preview tonight, right? There's that, too. There's something to be said about message sending. So that's exciting. But I'll say this about putting up a banner. Banners are very important. Like, I'm very proud of the fact RodPedersen.com was twice voted Canada's sports blog of the year. 40 million served, Darren, like you know. I'm very proud of those banners. I used to have them up on the website, like banners in the top of the arena, you know. You could look at those. I was on the provincial midget hockey champion hockey team 1989-90, milestone 88-89. Every time I walk in the rink, there's a banner on the wall. It's kind of nice to say I was on that team. The Regina Pats sucked for a really long time, and I was with them for a really long time, but we did put up one banner in 2008. We finished first. Curtis Hunt was the coach. My cousin Logan Pyatt was the captain. It's nice to walk into the Brandt Center and say, oh, yeah, 2008. I called those games when we put that banner up. That's really all that you're playing for, because as far as the playoff matchup goes, they're not going to be easy either way. That's my take on clinching first. Agree or disagree?
Yeah. Yeah, the banners are important to legacy. It's things you can use. They're important financially too, because you can make money. When you say this is a 3-time division winning team, 7-time division winning team, conference champions, et cetera, that stuff matters in your marketing. So sponsors, but personal pride, like you said, same thing. I go into the Wynyard Arena and hey, there's that photo, there's that trophy with my name on it. There, in the high school. There's the banners, and I think that stuff, means something when you go back and look on it years later. Absolutely.
It means a lot. And the other night I was sitting in Kaseya Arena, because I'm not the biggest NBA guy, obviously, and I'm looking at all those banners. I'm like, holy mackerel, there's a lot of banners up there for the Heat. I'm like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, wait, there are 3 league championships, 4 more conference championships, including last year for the Heat winning the East. But I'm like, that's still, if you don't know, as a guy like me going into an arena that it's not your thing, it's pretty cool to sit and count that kind of stuff. And by the way, when I say winning that provincial championship, when people say, hey, Rod, did you play? Yeah, I played hockey. Who'd you play for? I played for the Flyers. Not lying. It's the Milestone Flyers. The Vancouver Canucks can secure first place, by the way, in the Pacific Division with a win against the visiting I took the guys a little late on the uptake there. With a win against the visiting Calgary Flames. I feel bad that that's like a footnote on my... Let me start that again and give it the importance that it deserves. The Vancouver Canucks, ho, 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 can secure first place in the Pacific Division with a win against the visiting Calgary Flames tonight. Vancouver, with 107 points, holds a 3-point lead over Edmonton. Both teams have 2 games left, which I'm just going to say this rolls into point 3, and it's our poll question today. And that's going to have to roll into after the break, because it's going to take a while. Who should be Coach of the Year in the National Hockey League this year? The Jack Adams. Let's really get down to it, because I was out for a very long walk in the neighborhood this morning listening to NHL radio, and I got to agree with Gord Stellick and Scott Laughlin. Like Rick Tocchet, Chris Knobloch, and Peter Laviolette probably are the 3 best of a lot of coaches that did a really good job. And it kind of ticks me off. Obviously, I'm a Roy guy and I'm a goalie guy, and here we are going to roll a little late into the break. The criteria is the coach that had constituted the most to do with his team's success this year. Well, yeah, Tocchet. But for God's sakes, the Islanders just clinched last night. They're not getting in without Patrick Waugh. That is the definition of the award, what Patrick Waugh did. And he won't even be a finalist.
I know. It's wild. He didn't coach a full year, so maybe that plays into it. But he came in, and you're right, took the Islanders team. We thought they were going to miss the playoffs. And now they're a playoff team. Not even a wild card team, right? They're going to have one of the 3 division spots. So been pretty impressive what the turnaround they've been able to do. But Rick Tocchet, the one name, and I know you posted the NHL.com writers, their picks. Not seeing a lot of love for Rick Bowness. And he probably should be in this conversation too, especially the way they've played and against Colorado head-to-head and all the rest. I think Rick Bowness could be in that conversation, but I'm still sticking with Rick Tocchet as my choice.
Yeah. That was posted at the Rod Pedersen Show on Instagram, the top 4 or 5 coaches from the writers at NHL.com. And although we have some of them on this show, a lot of them couldn't find their ass with a flashlight. So,
how about that?
Like, for instance, I'll say it again. They didn't have Sergei Bobrovsky in their top 10 goalie ranking going into the year. He was an all-star and has had the best statistical season any Florida Panthers goalie's ever had this year. Bob, not even in the top 10. So that's why. And they have a vote. Figure that one out. We'll continue this when we return. It's Canada's favorite daytime sports talk show. We're live on the Game Plus television network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hey, honey, can you get one of the kids to show me how this Twitter thing works? Honey, I need to get on Instagram. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
Welcome back on a Tuesday, everybody. It is your favorite daytime sports talk show. Thanks for joining us. You do have a choice out there. Thanks for making us yours. And by the way, a reminder to reward your love of movies. Sign up for Landmark Extras for free today. And with that, you get more of what you love. Free movies, concession items, invitations to exclusive screenings, special events, and more. Walk the red carpet like the stars. You can do that. All the details are at landmarkcinemas.com, and you can sign up there, too. Let's please bring the Moose back in. He is at the Game Plus studios in Toronto. Wayne in Victoria, BC writes in. He says, hey, Rod and Moose, over the last few years, I've become a bigger fan of NHL hockey than I've ever been, thanks to the RP show. The Stanley Cup playoffs are going to be awesome. Mandy in Edmonton writes in and she says, hey, RP and Moose, long time. I just learned D-Max is not signed to the Elks this year. Thoughts, please? Demetrius Maxey, the D-line coach, has moved on. He's signed in, I believe, is it Ottawa, Toronto, somewhere out east? In today's world of coaching volatility and movement, we should not be surprised. Regarding the banners and the importance of finishing first or winning, just winning, because that does still mean something, Darren. Patrolman Pete in Winnipeg says, in my lifetime, the only banner I've seen a Winnipeg hockey team win is the 09 Manitoba Moose winning the conference. That's it. Because I guess there would have been a Winnipeg Ice Conference championship from last season, but alas, the point is the banners mean something. They really, really do. Do you think that's a revelation to the audience? Or is that just obvious why people are emptying the tank to clinch a banner?
Yeah, I mean, you want to be hot coming in. You want to win a banner. Do I think a banner matters to your chase for the Stanley Cup this year? No, I don't. I don't think it has anything to do with it. Maybe it gives you a little bit of extra, feel good, a little extra momentum, confidence going into the playoffs. But over the long term of a franchise, I absolutely think that matters. Hanging some banners, creating a tradition of winning, especially when young players, in the NHL is one thing, but, imagine a young player, and this is why we talk about Montreal so, with such high regard. You walk into the Bell Center and it's just like, whoa, not just banners of championships, but banners of legends, all the rest. It's history, it's tradition. It makes it mean something. That matters.
Now, on the flip side, this is cool, and I didn't necessarily think we'd be getting into this discussion today, but that's fine. That happens every day. Winning the banner isn't the entire thing. I go back to 2007, almost 20 years ago, but with the Saskatchewan Roughriders, we had a chance to win 13 games with our last game of the year, but Ken Austin sat down Kerry Joseph, our starting quarterback. And the president, Jim Hobson, the man who passed away 10 days ago, the Hall of Famer, was livid. He's like, what do you mean you're sitting down Kerry Joseph? We've never won 13 games before. Haven't finished first in 40 years. Kent's like, this is what we're doing. I'm the coach. And Jim listened to him. Jim backed out. He had a problem with that. And we didn't end up finishing first, but we did go on to win the Grey Cup. So that's the balancing act that the coaches have right now of resting your key guys versus those momentary pleasures that do stand the test of time. That's the gamble. What do we got here? Ryan O'Radio in Atlanta. He runs WQEE. If you ask anybody around Atlanta, they say Ryan O'Neill is the man around here. Trust me, I've been there and they say it. He says, by the way, a new Atlanta team called The Vibe are going to the postseason. The Vibe is a volleyball team. So to the naysayers, Atlanta is a great market that will support an NHL team. Well, you and I know that, Ryan O'Radio, but we got some convincing to do. I feel like we need to get together and strategize this. You going to say something, Darren? Look like you're ready to say
something. I was going to say the Vibe have made the postseason. Today's poll question. Which sport do the Vibe play? I wouldn't have guessed volleyball, but we know now. And you know what? No, Atlanta's a great city. I grew up watching those Braves games on Peachtree TV. Yeah. We love Atlanta. So, yeah, hopefully we can get there and watch some hockey one day.
I'm a big fan of Atlanta. Al Broderick, listen, don't get mad at me. I was just reading the comment. Al Broderick says the Winnipeg Jets have 3 WHA Avco Cup banners. So for Patrolman Pete, who says we don't have any listen, I don't know. But my good friend Rich Preston, who might be watching right now, just outside Calgary, scout for the Anaheim Ducks, does have one of those Winnipeg Jets Avco Cup rings, and they are beautiful, as does Peter Silky Sullivan. Central Scouting scout friend of mine was on that team, Silky Sullivan. You know why they called him Silky Moose? Because he had the silky mitts. way back in the 70s. That was a thing. And just on the Demetrius Maxey, who our news director Greg Bonnert used to call Delirious Maxey, leaving the Edmonton Elks. Mandy writes in and says, fire Chris Jones yesterday. Spread the news. Go back to Tennessee, please. Well, if they don't make the playoffs, you'll get your wish. Jen at the Four Seasons writes in and she says, good morning, y'all. What a boring Oiler game last night. Love the win, and Connor got 100 assists. Jen, I don't think I could date you, because if it's a 1-0 game, they didn't win by enough. They win by 9-3. It's too boring. What the hell do you want? What do you really want, Jen? Okay. I got to get back on task. Jeez, I'm way off-road. That's too early for that to happen, Darren, today. How about the baseball? Pitcher Chris Bassett was nearly unbeatable, and Alejandro Kirk had 2 hits as the Toronto Blue Jays defeated the visiting New York Yankees 3-1. Bassett held the red-hot Yankees to a 1-earned run and 4 hits over his 6 1/3 innings of work. Yimi Garcia pitched a 1-2-3 9th inning for his second save. Very interesting that John Sterling announced his retirement effective immediately yesterday. The longtime voice of the Yankees. Everybody's like, think it's something nefarious. He's 85.5. As expected, the Indiana Fever selected Caitlin Clark first overall in Monday's WNBA draft. The former Iowa star became a household name among basketball fans during her record-breaking college career. Now she'll try and help revive the Indiana franchise. Meanwhile, Aaliyah Edwards of Kingston, Ontario, a 2-time All-American with UConn, was selected 6th overall by the Washington Mystics. I got some NBA stuff and a special surprise coming up, but I just want to say, out for my walk this morning, I did flip over to ESPN Radio, and guess what they were talking about for the whole segment? You'll never guess. The WNBA. And to be honest, how unfair it is that Caitlin Clark is going to make $76,000 next year for the Indiana Fever, but make the league millions in jersey sales and gate receipts. And I'm like, oh my God, here we go again. She just came out of college basketball where she got $1 million with an NIL deal, and they fought for decades for the athletes to get it, and now it's the women's sports. And it's a debate that I'm not interested in having here right now, nor today at all. But will women's sports be propped up as a major league? Why do you think she's only making $76,000 as a first overall pick? Because that's all the numbers bear for what the league's made. You know, and I think about Connor Bedard. It wasn't fair that he sold out the Saddledome and got while playing for the Regina Pats, or diddly squat from the jerseys. But I'm like, well, number one, Darren, we weren't completely off track talking about the WNBA because ESPN was too. But also, how do you feel about this latest argument now? I was like, come on. When are people going to stop it? It's not fair that she only makes this much because she's going to make the league this much. She's an employee, for the love of... Make her an owner. What's your take on that?
You're right. You know, there was a lot of talk about whether Caitlin Clark would go to back to Iowa for another year, because she'll make way more money. But you want to go play pro. And, you know, it's funny, the business of sports and salaries and everything else has very little to do, I mean, at times, with how many points you score, how many goals you score, how many wins you have, how many championships you raise. And it has more to do with how much revenue can you drive. How many people are buying tickets because of you? How many people are watching on TV? How many extra sponsors are you bringing in? Those are the things that raise the salary cap. And one player can help, but it doesn't do it alone. She did a great job. She was a big part of why there was 18 million people watching the championship game or the loss to UConn. But yeah, I don't, or against South Carolina, my bad. Yeah, but
it's just so business. Predictable. It's predictable that would come up. And on the weekend, I got sucked into reading I saw a headline, why other female basketball players are catty towards Caitlin Clark. And I better read this. I got about a paragraph in. I'm like, why am I lived this with 3 teenage girls. Because people suck. That's why they're catty towards Caitlin Clark. Why did I even click? And secondly, last time I checked, we were raised in Canada. Instead of talking about college basketball, men's or women's, how about junior hockey, which is kind of big right now? Carter Sutherland started the comeback with a goal early in the second period and then completed it in overtime at 15:55 as the visiting Portland Winterhawks rallied to edge the Everett Silvertips 4-3 Monday night in the dub. The Silvertips led 2-0 after the first period, 3-2 heading into the third, but the Winterhawks came back and won. They'll look to sweep the series Friday night at Angel of the Winds Arena in Everett, Washington. There are 3 WHL playoff games tonight. The Saskatoon Blades visit the Red Deer Rebels. They're up 2-0. The Swift Current Broncos host the Moose Jaw Warriors with their series tied 1-1. And the Prince George Cougars, up 2-0 in their series, visit the Kelowna Rockets. And Game 7 in Melfort at Northern Lights Palace. Last time you and I were there, Moose, we got picked by the pool, and we ate some chicken tenders. It's Game 7 tonight, the Melfort Mustangs and the Humboldt Broncos. So I'm just getting it in there because the last I checked, I get women's sports are big. This is big, too. My takeaway about the whole thing was, when did Portland start wearing blue in their jerseys? What the hell? So we got a lot to talk about in hour 2. Thank you for your efforts.
You bet. You bet. We'll see you then.
Lee Genier's in next from the Rattlers. We'll be right back on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
The race for the Cantera Seed Cup continues on Flow Hockey TV. The SJHL playoffs are on.
60 minutes and who wants it more?
Follow the race for the Cantera Seeds Cup on Flow Hockey TV.
Foreigner, live in Moose Jaw. Foreigner is back. The Farewell Canada Tour. You're as cold as ice. May 13th, the Moose Jaw Event Center. Foreigner, with special guest, Headpins. Tickets on sale now at sasktix.ca and the Moose Jaw Event Center box office.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Send us your opinions now. We won't victimize you unless you really deserve it. Now, back to your host, Rod Pedersen.
And the RP Show continues on this Tuesday. We do have breaking news today. The Buffalo Sabres firing their head coach, Don Granato. And will there be more? Mervin writes in from Edmonton on the Silver Carpenter text line. He says, I was at the Oilers game last night. It was so sad to see the Sharks just mailing it in. 9-3 they lost to the Oil. I think, Merv, they've been mailing it in since October. It's been that kind of year in San Jose. One more game to go. This guy never mails it in. Lee Genier joins us from the Saskatchewan Rattlers, where he's the president, the Tom Brady of sports executives. How you doing, Lee?
I am fantastic, Roddy. Nice to see your smiling face.
You always are. The Canadian Elite Basketball League is where we find Lee. He's returned to the role where he won his last of many championships. I've been following, man, about a month away from tip-off, season 6 of the Canadian Elite Basketball League, Canada's largest pro league. But you had something you wanted to talk about today. What is it, Lee?
Yeah, we go on public sale this Thursday at 10 a.m. So all of our games, we have this renewed energy as we move forward. We got a brand new head coach coming to us straight from the Clippers. So he's working with the LA Clippers right now. I chatted with him yesterday and incredibly excited for that. So like I say, this Thursday, 10 a.m., it's like a concert announcment. Like U2 going on sale.
Well, tell me a little bit. Tell me a little bit more about your coach, if you don't mind.
Well, he, obviously coming to us directly from the Clippers. He's played NBA. He's played NCAA. Just brings a great resume to us. And between him and Barry Rollick, they've been able to assemble just an amazing roster that we're incredibly excited to announce some coming pieces in the following weeks, which are going to be absolutely huge for the team. And so that's what we've been looking for, is bringing that winning mentality back to the Rattlers and having the best people do that. So it's a very exciting time for us.
Well, I just want to back everything up for everybody because we've been talking hockey all day. I don't know. Can you turn that down? I don't know if it's you or where it's coming from, but this is season 6. I love the league. I have since season 1. To be honest, you welcomed me into watching the games with the Rattlers. I think you were the president of the Edmonton Stingers either slightly before that or after that. I got all the games in Calgary. Last season culminated in a very thrilling final in Vancouver, right, where the Surge fell in the championship game. It's awesome. Huge crowds in Winnipeg, a great first season in Montreal. Like, it's all deadly. Lots to build on, it would seem, Lee. Like, keep going up. It seems pretty high now. What's the goal for the league this year?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? It's like you said, Rod, like Winnipeg certainly set a bar last year. I mean, they were drawing close to 12,000 people for their last game. So can we do that in SaskTel Center? Absolutely we can. So May 22nd, the Sea Bears come to town and, putting a call out to all of our Saskatchewan fans. We need to be there and we need to beat those kind of numbers. So I know people can do it. And like I say, right across the league, all of our teams are trending up. 10 teams across this league, which is fantastic. You're going to see some expansion in the future, which is really exciting for us. So, I mean, hey, it's great to be part of a league that is on its meteoric rise, if you will.
Well, listen, let's just sit here for a second. with the season 6 upcoming for the CEBL, the Rattlers have been there for the prior 5. And I think you're a smart guy. You've been in Saskatoon long enough to know it's not like they weren't a basketball town. They just were burnt 30 years ago by pro teams. They were waiting to see if this team and this league was going to be legit. I would suggest going into year 6, the league and the Rattlers have proven themselves in the province and in the market. Would you agree or disagree?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And, certainly there's been a history of the Storm, the Slam, the Hawks, and, each one of those teams is around for 2 years each. And here we are going into sixth season. And like I said, we're just going up. So it's, we're here forever. So, again, yes, we have world-class basketball players coming through this, through our backyard. And, this is a provincial team, as you know. So, just right, people are traveling every week. I'm going to say every few days from Regina, from all across the province, from Moose Jaw to our games. So that's really exciting. And understanding to have that level of basketball in SaskTel Center is pretty exciting for sure.
Well, too, nothing ignites prairie folk like a good old rivalry. And it's like if they're trailing Winnipeg in attendance, they're going to want to beat them, because, they used to say, we don't want to be inside in the summer. It's Saskatchewan. We have a short summer. Do you think they got any longer summer in Winnipeg? No, they don't. But they're going to the games there. So you guys need to get in there and pack that place. So are these single game tickets or season tickets going on sale Thursday? Hit us again with the pitch, Lee.
Single game tickets. So this is all of our 10 home games, just our public sale. We're always, we're going to be on sale for our season tickets right up until May 22nd, which were 3 times the season tickets we were last year, which is fantastic. But like I say, is come 10 a.m. on Thursday morning. Again, that concert announcement like atmosphere. So it's going to be huge. And like I say, pick all your 10 games and you go to the rattlers.ca and that'll take you straight to Ticketmaster.
We should mention, this is the biggest news. Well, 2 things. One, the league is coming to Game Plus Television, the TV channel that's carrying this show right now, number 1. And number 2, Ravinder and Manjeet Minhas, when I saw they were buying into the league, I thought for sure it would be the Calgary Surge. That's where they live. But it's Edmonton with the Sting. And it's like, is it an ego thing, or do they actually think they could make some money? Because the Minhases didn't get to where they are by losing money. So how did this come about?
No, and you know what is, they obviously had some prior connection with Edmonton ownership. And, if you would listen to Ravinder and Manjeet talk about, they were in town in Edmonton for a game last year. And, I think that's where it all started. And, and here we are. And I mean, yes, everything they touch turns to gold. I think they're the 9th largest alcohol distributor in North America. So they have a lot of passion, a lot of success. I've known them for 30 years, so it's it's fantastic to have them in the league and that profile of individuals. And when you start to look right across our league and the profile of the individuals that from Vancouver all the way to Scarborough, it just kind of talks about where this league is going as well, with OVO, Drake's brand in Scarborough, to David Asper in Winnipeg. So major names. And so anyways, going back to Manjeet, and Ravinder, it's great that, like I say, just to be part of it.
Yeah, well, what I like is we can say we've been buckled in since year 1. No Johnny-come-latelys here. So I'm looking forward to getting back for the summer and taking in some games live. Lee, good to see you. Good luck with the sale on Thursday.
Thanks so much, Roddy. Always a pleasure.
Lee Genier of the Saskatchewan Rattlers. We'll be right back with a sports update and audience takeover after this. Kevin Karius coming up from Edmonton 1440 in hour 2. We're live on Game Plus TV, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult, because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
One of hip-hop's finest, Ice Cube.
You better check yourself or you wreck yourself, 'cause I'm bad.
Straight into Canada tour. April 28th, Moose Jaw Event Center.
I can't believe today was a good day.
Among the most influential rappers of all time, Ice Cube. On sale now at sasktix.ca or the Moose Jaw Event Center box office.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Did you know you can catch all the best moments from the show on all our social media platforms? Now, back to the studio with Rod.
Lots of time for this last segment of Hour 1, and just some interesting comments. Great last interview there with Lee Genier, the president of the Saskatchewan Rattlers, and it's been fun to watch that league grow, and the games will be on this television channel this season. Patrolman Pete in Winnipeg writes in, he says, the Sea Bears are a big friggin' deal here in Winnipeg. Their players are celebrities around town. That reminds me, I need to buy tickets for the home opener. Haha. See how interviews work and selling tickets? Yeah. Interesting point about Caitlin Clark. And Chad Kelly went and stepped in it this morning, saying that her first contract in the WNBA is CFL money. And he's getting justifiably trounced for that. He should be happy anybody's giving him a job. But back to Caitlin Clark. Glenn in Medicine Hat writes in and says, forget NIL for a minute, where she made $1 million a year this year at Iowa. I'm not sure what Caitlin Clark's major is at university, but it's entirely conceivable she can generate much more personal income not playing basketball. Right? But what about doing what you love? That anybody thought about that? And last one, Wayne in BC says, I'm sorry, y'all, but I don't know how some people can follow so many different leagues. I don't have time or the inclination to follow more than NHL hockey and CFL and NFL football. I know, Wayne, I'm kind of largely was like that, but it is kind of fun. And people follow what they want to follow. Makes them happy. Here's the breaking news from this Tuesday. The Buffalo Sabres fired head coach Don Granato this morning, making him the 7th coach to be ousted during what's grown into an NHL record 13-season playoff drought. He completed his 3rd full season in Buffalo after taking over on an interim basis in the midst of the COVID pandemic-shortened 2021 season. He finishes all-time with a record in Buffalo of 122, 125, and 27. I'll say it again. They finished 5 points out of a playoff spot. They beat Tampa last night 4-2. But my guess is the inclination there is that the expectation was to make the playoffs. You didn't. You're gone. Now they got to start over again. So the Toronto Blue Jays host the New York Yankees in the second matchup of their 3-game series tonight. The Jays won last night's opener 3-1. Tonight's game features a pair of lefties on the mound with Yusei Kikuchi starting for Toronto against the Yankees' Carlos Rodon. The New Orleans Pelicans host the LA Lakers in an NBA play-in clash tonight. The winner will advance to the playoffs as the 7th seed and faces the defending champion Denver Nuggets in the first round. The loser will play the winner of tonight's other play-in game, which has the Sacramento Kings hosting the Golden State Warriors. It's funny with Wayne saying what he follows. Those are my top leagues too, CFL, NHL, NFL. But I did see a guy put on the Panthers Facebook group today. He's like, oh, finally the confusion will end tonight, I think. And it was about who needs to win, who needs to lose to clinch. And oh my God, I'm with you, bro. I don't know. Just sort it all out, play the games. We'll talk about it in the morning. The teams know what they need to do, and that's really all that matters. Sports Updates brought to you by Common Crown Brewing Company, turning your everyday common beer into a unique and exceptional experience. Visit commoncrown.ca. And for Landmark Cinemas, in Landmark Cinemas now, Civil War, our journey across a dystopian future America following a team of military-embedded journalists as they race against time to reach D.C. before rebel factions descend upon the White House. Starring Kirsten Dunst and Wagner Moura. Civil War in Landmark Cinemas now. So next hour, a lot of NHL talk with the big games tonight. And do we see Austin Matthews scoring number 70 here tonight at sunrise? We'll be at the game. We'll be playing our breakaway bets. Darren beat me yesterday 6-4. And all the sports that are fit to talk about. And junior hockey playoffs too. Why not? It's all coming up after this brief pause right here on Game Plus Television, Key Radio in Atlanta, whatever you'd like to talk about in Peach City, and the streams back after this.
At the Key Auto Group Pre-Owned Division, we're bringing back that new car feeling. No matter what, it's new to you and priced just right. No hidden fees, prices you can trust, an upfront buying experience. And it's all at keyautogroup.ca.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The race for the Cantera Seed Cup continues on Flow Hockey TV. The SJHL playoffs are on.
60 minutes and who wants it more?
Follow the race for the Cantera Seeds Cup on Flow Hockey TV.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. BDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
With mashed potatoes and the gravy. I love a big, turkey dinner, Thanksgiving dinner.
Here, big old beef steak, baked potato, Caesar salad, and garlic toast. That would be my last supper.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Yes, it is. Thank you, Rick Regan. Guilty as charged. Welcome to Hour 2 of the RP Show. We're coming at you live on the Game Plus Television Network. Big Hour 2 planned for you. Kevin Karius of Sports 1440 will be joining us a little later on to talk about Connor McDavid. He had 100 assists last night, and the first to do it in 30 years, only the fourth to do it in NHL history. But Coach could do it tomorrow of the Tampa Bay Lightning. Let's bring the Moose in, Darren Moose Dupont. He is in Toronto at Game Plus. What brings you into the Game Plus studios, by the way? You never told me what's going on there.
Nothing special, just connecting, having some conversations, and it's always good to check in and see everybody. Always get to visit with Jeremy and get to see his dog who he brings in. It's kind of always fun to come in and be around the guys.
You're talking about talking. I like it.
That's right.
Hang on. We will get to all this. I invite audience participation, so I can't get upset for them jumping on my back, wanting to talk about things. So John Ohm is all over it, and we'll get to that in a second. But you mentioned Jeremy Davis from Game Plus. He really is the brains around there. I know that. And you said he came up to you at the Blue Jays game the other night. Tell us all that story and what that conversation entailed. I think that people need to know.
You like that one? Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I hear him laughing in the back room now, in the production control room. I'm a little bit away from that. I'm back up in the main area, but he talked about what show was it? He said your show yesterday was my favorite show that you guys have ever done. On the one hand, he's like
Thursday.
Rod's telling OJ to go to hell, and then you're talking about what's her name, Lorena Bobbitt, and I didn't know what was coming next. And that's typically most of our shows. You never know what's coming next around the corner, and that was a fun one.
That's the beautiful thing about it. I don't know the next word out of my mouth. John Ohm in Winnipeg wants to know the game of the night in the National Hockey League. So just hang on. We did put last night's games to bed. The big news is that Don Granato's been fired as the head coach of the Buffalo Sabres. And an hour ago, I believe we analyzed that. Well, they've got a really good young team that's getting better. We all kind of expected a little more out of them this year, i.e. making the playoffs. And for that reason, Don Granato is walking the plank. But I do want to say this. NHL sent out a release last night. Not kind of interesting or ironic maybe. On the very night that Connor McDavid hits 100 assists in the Oilers' 9-3 spank job over San Jose, which Mervin from Edmonton watched the game, wrote in, and he said the Sharks, it's disappointing to see them not care. And they haven't cared for a long time. So listen, Oilers fans, just enjoy the fact that your team's rolling. And the NHL announced they've hit an all-time attendance record. 22,560,634 fans through the doors. That broke a record that was set just last year. Now, there's a story that was posted to the Canadian Press Wire this morning. I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but I saw the headline. NHL bounces back from COVID in big way. And I can't wait to read the article because I kind of wonder how they did it. I'm interested in that stuff. I'm not sure that everybody is, but I am. And I'm sure there's a lot of other leagues should read that and see how. You know, but they've bounced back. Why do you think it is? Why do you think they set an attendance record? Because ticket prices are at an all-time high.
Yeah, but the league is doing very well in terms of a few things. And number one is you need people to care. You need some attention on it. And I think, the league has had stars, but, McDavid, bringing in Connor Bedard, you got stars spread out to multiple markets. You still have Sid, who's having a great year. Ovi is chasing down the record. There's a lot of great storylines. Austin Matthews with the 70 goals, all the guys pushing towards 150 points. You look at increased markets, Vegas and Seattle, and now excitement happening in Salt Lake City. So there's more excitement there. The storylines are at an all-time high. I think there's just a lot going well. And on a media front, it's always been good in Canada. There's more shows like ours popping up. There is, Biz and the guys on TNT, Mark Messier, ESPN getting involved. So more major brands, more major players, Gretzky, Messier, they're all talking about the game. I think that's really, really great.
Can we cut that and put it in a marketing brochure for the NHL? Because you're right. And I look at the other leagues, NFL aside, because they're in another stratosphere. But the other leagues that don't bring in the alumni and the past stars, there's a lot of leagues that aren't doing everything that Darren just said, right? They aren't doing what Darren just said. And that's why you and I are the kind of guys in a lot of our audience that are always going to watch the NHL. So it doesn't matter how are they pulling in the extras. Again, Darren just kind of gave the footprint for that. Jeff, the Stamps fan, writes that he says, Buffalo's the only team left who hasn't won a cup that I'd like to see win a cup. I almost, you caught me there for a second, but I see what he's saying. Because there are other teams that haven't won a cup. And ironically, Kevin the Medium has just showed up. Good morning, RP peeps. That? Basically, what Jeff the Stamps fan's saying is there are other teams that haven't won Stanley Cups. Winnipeg Jets come to mind. Vancouver Canucks come to mind. The Salt Lake something's come to mind. The Seattle Kraken come to mind. There are a lot that haven't. Florida Panthers haven't won a Stanley Cup, but he's saying the only one that he'd like to see win a cup of those is Buffalo. I'd like to see them all win a cup. I'm not joking. Utah Darren writes in, and he says, getting back on ESPN and ABC in the States is a huge deal for the NHL. Dude, your lips to everybody's ears. That's the whole thing about being on the mainstream. That might be the biggest reason right there. This morning, Serena went to the gym. Yeah, we don't always turn on the television in the morning. Usually when she's gone, I will put on Sports Center. And this morning I was like, what? They're showing Boston, Washington highlights and Detroit, Pittsburgh highlights. Detroit, Montreal highlights, and that it went, not only that game went to overtime and Detroit won, and that the Capitals needed to win, and they did. I'm like, these anchors knew what they were talking about. It wasn't, listen, I like Greeny on the get up, but it's not like where Greenberg's going. Tonight, it's the Chicago Blackhawks home to the Seattle Kraken at 7 on he doesn't know, he doesn't care, and it's very evident. You know what I mean? He's just reading what he has to. These anchors actually cared.
Well, I was thinking about that. Just the one final thought on that, too. I really think you talk about the expansion and why they go to certain markets. Well, all the big markets this year right now are relevant. Toronto, relevant. Matthews, Stanley Cup contenders. New York Rangers, going to win the the President's Trophy. Vegas, good. LA, good. Texas, one of the biggest provinces for population. Dallas, good. Florida, both teams, good. So all your major cities where all the people are, the teams are doing well. I don't think that's a coincidence either.
Dude, while we're talking about that, and we can't forget dear, precious Alberta, which I love, lived there twice now in my life. When you just talk about a coincidence, I was thinking about this. They're obviously very upset with their team missing the playoffs for a second straight year. You know how the Facebook memories, I'm at least at a point now when the Facebook memories come up, they're good memories, And yesterday, 1 year ago, yesterday, I was climbing into the hot tub at Grey Eagle, and it was -9 degrees in Calgary. And I know they got a huge storm today last night. No, is it great? I don't know. 28 degrees here today, Celsius. That's what I know is great. But my point about all that is it's the second straight year the Flames are missing the playoffs. And we look at Don Granato being fired in Buffalo today. Just consider this for a second. At some point, I don't think the Ryan Huska, Craig Conroy thing's going to end well in Calgary, because nothing has ended well in Calgary since 1989. But you tell me how Daryl Sutter can win 2 Stanley Cups in L.A., but be fired in Calgary twice. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't end well for anybody there, and they continue to wonder why. That's all. I think it's really cool that Utah Darren, I did not have this on my bingo card entering 2024. Utah Darren, when we sit and talk hockey, he's now in an NHL market. He's not some irrelevant alternative football league. Hot damn. You know what I mean?
I know.
NBA.
Yeah.
That's a curveball I did not see coming. Kevin the Medium, who's in Calgary, but a Vancouver fan, which is a rarity I've found. Wouldn't you agree, Kev? He says, this is the Canucks era. April? If they win tonight over the Calgary Flames, they will clinch first. And you know what? I'm going to eat some crow, because some trolls have pulled out that meme from October where I said what I said, that this wasn't going to last. And they're looking at clinching tonight. It brings up our poll question today at 1:11 Eastern, 11:11 Mountain. The poll.
Beautiful.
Manifestation is real, Darren. The Canucks manifested they were going to finish in first under Rick Tocchet. Who will be the coach of the year in the NHL? Rick Tocchet, Chris Knobloch at Edmonton, Peter Laviolette, or other. And the last I looked on Twitter, 46% were leading on Twitter for Tocchet. He's going to win it. It's almost like, what's the race for number 2? I don't. There's an argument. Laviolette, this is his first season with the Rangers. They set a record for wins, and they've won the President's Trophy. They're upset here in South Florida that Paul Maurice isn't even mentioned in this discussion. But I've said it many times. I'll say it again. It's the NHL. It's the best of the best. You know, everything. They're the best broadcasters, best Zamboni drivers, best hot dog makers, popcorn makers, best organists. Best of everything is the NHL. So, to be honest, it should be a closer race than this. Looks like Tocchet's winning it by a landslide. What do you think?
Yeah, it doesn't seem close. It doesn't seem close at all. I think he's winning it by a landslide too, but Knobloch would be in that conversation. Andrew Burnett and what he's done in Nashville should be in that conversation. Laviolette, no doubt, shows the value of a coach. You know, we talk about coaches that have been bounced around a lot, but there's a reason they keep getting recycled. They're good coaches. Just sometimes the message has a 2 to 3 year shelf life with teams, and then you need a new group that message will be impactful for. There's a lot of Paul Maurice could be in that conversation. There's coaches in multiple cities that could be in this conversation, but it's just, I think Vancouver, Rick Tocchet's really changed the culture and the expectations from coming into the season to what they've been able to deliver on has just been, outstanding. New York, we expected them to be good. We didn't think Vancouver would be this good. They've been great.
Well, look. People, pay attention. I may not look old, but I am. Thank God for Control GX. You know what I'm saying? Because the Joe fan doesn't understand this. When a coach keeps getting fired, and he keeps getting hired, people don't understand why. He was fired here, there, and there, right? Well, you'd like to think that people learn along the way. Rick Tocchet was fired in Arizona. He was fired in Tampa Bay. Like a lot of us, fired everywhere. Doesn't mean he doesn't know what he's doing. Doesn't mean that I don't know what I'm doing. Andrew Brunette is getting a lot of pub. You brought up that NHL.com graphic that is on our Instagram right now, that Andrew Brunette is like number 4 from NHL.com writers. Well, number 1, I think it's because of Barry Trotz is the biggest reason that Andrew Brunette's having success. But I'm not in the room. I don't know what's going on in Nashville. They're winning and they're in the playoffs. So bravo. And maybe Andrew Brunette has done a great job. But here, he is the last coach to win a President's Trophy in his first season on the bench. And that happened with the Florida Panthers. But do you remember? It was Tampa that they were playing and lost to in the playoffs, Darren. And the players were caught at a strip club till all hours in the morning. Do you remember that when that story came out? Andrew Brunette was the coach, and he got fired. So do you think maybe he took that lesson into his next job, which I think was New Jersey last year as an assistant, and now to Nashville as a head coach, and realized, maybe I need to have a little better rein on my players? I'm just, by the way, spitballing and supposing, but this is the way it's kind of supposed to work. What do you think?
You get an opportunity, and then you learn along the way, and you grow and you evolve. I hate to keep bringing up John Tortorella, because I'm a fan, but, there's a reason he's still in the game. He's evolved. And yes, he's gone off and had some of the sideshows, but he never used to come back and apologize for his behavior. He's doing that now. He's showing a little bit more of the emotion while he's still the same. He hasn't sacrificed those same values. He's learned that you have to still show people that you care about them, and he's evolved. Andrew Burnett, learning from the opportunities. And I would assume that Peter Laviolette has learned, some of the things that work that you want to bring forward, and you want to eliminate some things that don't work. Guys that don't learn aren't in the NHL anymore. We've seen it, guys like Mike Babcock, and I don't know if they'll get other chances.
Yeah, Babs is no older than any of these guys, really. This is something that I could talk about all day, and I'm glad that our audience is engaged and participating too. Just on the Canucks thing, Kevin the Medium says, I told you in November this was going to happen, Rod. You laughed at me. Yeah, well, you told me a lot of things, Kevin, some of which didn't come true. So just pipe down. Regarding the Utah NHL, who thought coming into the new year that Utah, Darren, would have an NHL team in his backyard? He goes, me either, Rod. The Lord works in mysterious ways. Does he ever? Utah, Darren says, by the way, I do still watch a ton of alternative football. I know we got a break here. The UFL was on this weekend. I took a pass. I know that there are some people that are just up in our grill, Canton, Pennsylvania, about why we're not talking about it more. not promoting it more. I'm like, A, that's not my job. We'll promote ourselves, not the UFL. And number two, doesn't need to be a number two. I don't care. There's a lot of other things that I was watching that took precedence over that. We will be right back. It's getting fun today. I told you it would happen. We'll be right back on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
The race for the Cantera Seat Cup continues on Flow Hockey TV. The SJHL playoffs are on.
60 minutes and who wants it more?
Follow the race for the Cantera Seats Cup on Flow Hockey TV.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Send us your opinions now. We won't victimize you unless you really deserve it. Now, back to your host, Rod Pedersen.
Yeah, I'd like to thank the host with the most, but who knows? That's not for me to say. I hope you're having as much fun as I am. You watching and listening, and me yapping with Moose, which, by the way, he's at the Game Plus studio in Tirana. We're not dumb. Put it on our tombstone, Moose. We're not dumb. And I'll tell you why in a second. But Monty writes in, disregarding all the coach firings, on one hand, the Coach of the Year candidates versus the coaches fired. I think it was 7. Don Granato makes 7 today. Monty says today, anybody can be fired. It's a business.
How about
I think that happened at Boston Pizza with you, didn't it, Monty? I've been fired multiple times. As my good friend Terry Simpson says, Simpso, the more you get fired, the more you get numb to it. Right? So it happens. But, Moose, I got the story. I found it here. Do you want to hear it on the NHL? It's a good one. I haven't posted it yet to rodpeterson.com, but I think it's prudent for everyone to hear, both our viewers, NHL fans, and fans of other leagues. Here's the story as written by Stephen Wino from the Associated Press. Arenas are full. The NHL is a fixture on TV screens across North America. Highlight reel goals are talking points on a near daily basis, and the Pat McAfee Show even has a segment called Hockey is Awesome. Piece it all together, and more eyes are on the puck than ever before, with the playoffs beginning this weekend. Business is booming for the NHL, which has bounced back in a major way from the pandemic, backstopped by new media rights deals, digital dasher ads, and helmet and jersey ads, and buoyed by an overlap of generational stars. Ratings are up, attendance set a record, and revenue is at an all-time high, estimated $6.2 billion this year. Tom Gargiulo, the chief marketing officer at Body Armor, said, quote, "The league is going through a bit of a renaissance. This sport is moving into the next phase of its evolution and is on a tremendous trajectory." Just one more paragraph. Commissioner Gary Bettman says it starts with the game on the ice, which he believes has never been more exciting, more competitive, more skillful, never been faster. There are nearly 6 goals a game on average. And while Sidney Crosby and Alex Ovechkin are still producing, Connor McDavid, Austin Matthews, and Nathan McKinnon are in their prime with another wave of talent led by the likes of Connor Bedard not far behind. So it was everything you said, plus the ESPN ABC deal that Utah Darren said. Da-da-da-da-da-da. What do you think when you hear that?
Yeah, I think it's awesome. It's where the game needs to be, and everybody's excited. I'm seeing countdowns for the playoffs to start in 4 days. I'm seeing all the rest on my timeline. I'm seeing influential people talking about the game. It is awesome. It's what you want, and you want the teams talking about it. You want alumni, fans, more shows like ours, and you all work together to build what's a pretty amazing product that continues to grow. And I think the NHL has to be feeling like they're in a pretty good spot right now.
They say it regularly, and they should. And I tell you what, I don't see you every day. We don't talk as much as we used to because we're living in separate markets. But I get it all the time around here. Man, did you start that Panthers and Lightning show at a good time? And I'm like, finally, yes, my timing's right. Just with regards to all the things that are on television these days, John says, I watched 2 minutes of the UFL. Sorry, but hockey, baseball, and Masters golf was on. And Utah Darren says, no alternative football on the RP show? No problem. Look up the Mark Cast and Reed Johnson. UFL, CFL, he even talks about Kraken hockey. That's the whole thing. It's just fun. I would hate to be locked down to one thing. Jeremy Shackleton writing, where are you from, Jeremy? Can't remember. He writes in, he's watching on the streaming, and he says, the jersey patches ruining great jerseys. I get the money part, but that priority patch on the winged wheel is yuck. I kind of get it. I'm not going to argue with him. I try to be the fly in the ointment sometimes, and some jerseys you don't really care. Like the Panthers have this patch on, you wouldn't even really notice. But that Detroit, he makes a great point. The Chicago, the Rangers, they weren't meant to be sullied up. The Bruins. The milk one doesn't look too bad on the Leafs jerseys, I'll be honest with you, but I love milk. How do you feel about jersey patches? We knew they were coming, right?
Yeah, and you can't, approve one and not approve the next. Some of them look great, you're right, and they're done tastefully. Even same thing with the helmet patches. Some stand out like a sore thumb and don't look very aesthetically pleasing, but it's a revenue thing, and it's a business. At the end of the day, it's a business. Some things are sacred, but the jersey now has the door's been open for sponsorship, so we're not closing it.
Interesting you say some things are sacred. What's sacred? What, pray tell, is sacred?
Well, I thought it was the jersey. It's not. It's not.
No.
Once you open that door, it's not going back the other way. But I thought it was the jersey. Yeah, it's not.
No. I don't know why Mandy in Edmonton, she's just fixated on the Toronto Argonauts today, right again. She says, double blue, Toronto. What are you saying? That's your favorite jersey or best jersey? I think, I'm going to say it, I think the best uniform in sports right now are those Toronto Argonauts, Cambridge blue, as they say, helmets, jerseys, and pants. Like I just get weak in the knees. And by the way, I will be buying the Florida Panthers baby blue jersey tonight, $200 cash, meeting a guy on the concourse. It's like, hey, you want to buy a watch? I feel so dirty doing this. I've done it before. I bought a Twitter handle in the lobby of the Luxor Hotel in Las Vegas for $100 US. I bought the Twitter handle at Rod Pedersen. It's a story not for today. Oh, and Jeremy Shackleton says, by the way, I'm checking in from Potash, capital of the world, Esterhazy, Saskatchewan. The home of Todd Fuchs. Regina Rams, great. Okay, are you ready to play NHL breakaway bets? Have you been studying?
I've been paying a little bit of attention. I know what's going on.
I feel like you've beaten me the last 2 nights, so I need to pick it up. Detroit at Montreal. Last Habs game of the year. Who wins straight up?
Yeah, I'll take Detroit to finish that off and keep their hopes alive.
×2. The Ottawa Senators at Boston. A Bruins single point, and they clinch first in the Atlantic Division.
I'll take Boston.
Me too. Carolina Hurricanes at the Columbus Blue Jackets in the final game of the great Jeff Rimmer Blue Jackets broadcaster's career. Carolina, Columbus. Who wins?
I'll say Columbus. I think Carolina doesn't have much to play for tonight.
Dag nabbit, I was going to as well. Washington needs a point tonight to clinch at Philly. Who wins?
Game of the night for me. This is it. This is the game of the night. I think Philly wins.
Ooh, I'm taking Washington. There, we finally got a rub. The Toronto Maple Leafs at the Florida Panthers.
I'll take Toronto.
Why?
I think they've got a little more to play for with the Matthews thing and wanting to make sure they're, they got a couple of games left, but I think because of Matthews and stuff, I'll take Toronto.
Listen, this is a study for another time, but I'm going to take Florida. Anthony Stolarz is starting in goal tonight. Don't look now, but he leads the NHL in lowest goals against average. He won the Unsung Hero Award the other night here. Anthony Stolarz, backup goalie for the Panthers. The Panthers play better when the backup's in the net. And they leave Bob on his own more often than not. Well, Bob's not playing tonight. So I think they're really going to get it together for Stolarz tonight. So that'll be fun. Seattle at Winnipeg. Who do you like?
The Jets.
Okay, me too. Calgary Flames at the Vancouver Canucks.
I'll take the Canucks.
Because they're going to clinch if they win?
Yeah.
And the Chicago Blackhawks at the Vegas Golden Knights. Who do you like?
I like Chicago tonight, actually. winding it up, wanting to play hard. I want to play hard. I think Vegas just concerned about making sure everybody's healthy now that they've clinched a spot. So I think Chicago, a little more to play for. Pride.
I'm going to take Vegas. I don't know if they care about going into the playoffs on a roll or not. See if Connor Bedard's sneaking into a club in Vegas after the game as they have their year-end party. How about that? Not even old enough to rent a car or get into the bar for a long time yet in Vegas. Connor Bedard. Randy in Winnipeg writes in, he says, Rod, who do you want the Panthers to play in the first round, Toronto or Tampa? We want Florida. Just because of the carnage and the spectacle, I would rather they play Toronto. It was so much fun last year when the member of the Panthers tried to block Leaf fans from coming to the game. It's like, do you actually think that's going to work? Because it's not going to work. And it didn't work. And it was only a 5-game series anyways. Both series would be tough. But who do I think they would have a better chance to beat? It's Tampa. They beat them 9-2 in their place back in February. Lost here 5-2 to the Bolts in the last game. It would be both would be great series. But I'm going to say it again. I think the Leafs are a different team now than we've seen the last several years, and they scare me a little bit. Okay,
we're coming.
What up?
We're going to be in the pools. We're going to be in. I just think those are.
Is George Costanza. What do you want? Okay, Moose, say hey to my gang there.
You bet. Have a good one.
Alan May is coming in next from the Washington Capitals television crew. We're live on Game Plus TV, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
One of hip-hop's finest, Ice Cube.
You better check yourself or you wreck yourself, 'cause I'm bad.
Straight into Canada tour. April 28th, Moose Jaw Event Center.
I can't believe today was a good day.
Among the most influential rappers of all time, Ice Cube. On sale now at sasktix.ca or the Moose Jaw Event Center box office.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven. And I'm Connor Bedard. We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors. There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life. Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Oh, yeah, he's back. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hey, we're back. Warren Foegele scored twice, and Adam Henrik and Dylan Holloway each had a goal and 2 assists as the Oilers blasted San Jose 9-3 last night. But the big one was Connor McDavid had a goal and added his 100th assist of the season. Kevin Karius, of course, watching the game. He joins us from Sports 1440, returning the favor after I went on his show last week. Dickie, how you doing today, sir?
I've talked to you more in the last week than we did in 10 years.
At least 10 years. I don't know about you, but I like it. And you said that McDavid was getting hit 100, and I kind of felt like you think Cooch is going to hit it too. What's gone on this year that this has just gone insane?
Special players. We are so lucky to have the type of seasons that a handful of guys are having right now in the NHL. Really lucky as hockey fans. Kucherov's going to do it. He's going to get 100. Artemi Panarin has 120 points, and when you look at his season, he isn't even in the top 4. When you look at the Hart Trophy right now, that's because of how special and how good the players are. As fans, we're so fortunate to be watching the best athletes in the world playing the fastest game, and they're really, really putting on a show for the fans, and they're the winners.
Yeah, exactly. As we often say, the winners are the fans. But that story came out this morning from the Canadian press that business is booming in the NHL. An all-time attendance record was announced last night, $6.2 billion in revenue this year. Why do you think, you've been covering this league for decades. Sorry to say you're old, but we are. What now? Why do you think it's better now than ever?
Well, again, you have the best athletes in the world that are putting themselves out there every day on a nightly basis. They're that much better. The players are better than they ever have been. They're faster. They're quicker. I mean, Connor McDavid missed 3 games, comes out the first shift last night like he shot out of a cannon, almost gets an assist on the very first play. It goes off the skate of Marc-Edouard Vlasic and in, so it's a goal for McDavid. But they are head and shoulders of what the players were 5, 6, 7 years ago, 10 years ago. All the greats will tell you they cannot believe the speed of the game. These guys are that good. And again, fans are coming out and they're paying a fortune. Playoff tickets, my goodness, are through the roof. And the HRH, the hockey-related revenue, is at an all-time high. The salary cap's going to be going up. The league is in a pretty good position right now.
Sure. But, you know, if people didn't know about these great athletes, they'd be struggling. And Utah Darren wrote in last hour, and he said the ESPN-ABC deal coincides with attendance records the last 2 years. It doesn't hurt that they're on the biggest cable carriers in the United States of America. By the way, I want to talk about McDavid in a moment, but I didn't have Utah on my bingo card this year. I mean, how do you feel about that?
I'm fine with it. It's the best of both worlds in the sense that, the owners are going to make a little bit of money off this right now. If you were to ask any owner, they want expansion teams. They don't want teams to move here. So if the owners can snag about $200 million between the 30 owners or so for this time around, that's okay. But the big payoff and the big payout will be in 4 or 5 years or whatever, 3 years when the next expansion comes, and it's going to be 1.5, 1.7, maybe 2 billion. That's when they're going to get their big payout. Right now, with this move from Arizona to Utah, they're not going to be losing money like they were in Arizona. So it's good for the owners right now. It will be better for the owners once they figure out in 5 years, hopefully, an expansion team in Arizona, and then they're going to get the big payout.
It's interesting you say that because Alex Murillo never, ever did complain about losing money in Arizona. Money is not a problem of his. So if it's $2 billion, he'd be, where do I make out the check? I hope if they go back, I hope it's not with him. You know, I love Arizona, but I don't love
think
him.
it will be. I don't think it will be.
Okay, McDavid hits 100 assists, first player since Lemieux to do it. I asked your boy Gregor this a while back, if McDavid goes on the Rushmore of Oilers. Dickie, you can only have 4 faces on there. Is he on there yet, or does he have to win a Stanley Cup?
I think he's on there right now. Yeah, I'm putting him on. I don't think he has to win a Stanley Cup. It would be great, and it's an automatic. But the things, again, what he does, performing at the level he does, at the speed he does, we've never seen it before. He is head and shoulders above, in my opinion, anyone in the league right now when he's on top of his game. He's so fast. He can handle the puck at that level, at that speed. So I say he's on that Rushmore right now.
Who else?
Well, I mean, obviously Gretzky, Messier. If you're going to have McDavid on there, it's probably somewhere close between a Grant Fuhr and Glenn Anderson for me.
And you could put a Slats on there, a Paul Coffey, which, by the way, the last time you were around, you're on, you mentioned Koff. You mentioned you being in the dressing room a lot more than you have for a long time. What's it like having Koff around, and what's his role been in this resurgence? Knobloch's getting all the credit. Obviously, Koff's not getting a lot, and he'd probably be okay with that.
Doesn't want it, doesn't care. I had a sit down with him on the bench about 3 months ago after he got hired, and here, I mean, we had more people saying this is the worst hire that texted in and called into Sports 1440 than any other polarizing aspect with this hockey team that I can remember, because they brought up the old boys club. What does he know about defense? He was terrible defensively when he was here, but he does no offense. We had people texting in ad nauseum about how he was not the right man for the job. I sat down and asked him about that. And the other thing that people weren't too happy about, they figured that there was a direct pipeline every day to Daryl Cates. Paul Coffey would call Daryl every day and say, Daryl, this is what's going on with the team. This guy's doing that. And this coach is doing that. It doesn't work like that. Paul was the first to say that he's an assistant coach now. He's not an advisor to Daryl Cates. He doesn't fill that role anymore. Does he have Daryl Cates' number? Yes. Does he talk to Daryl Cates? Yes. But not to the extent of where he was before. He's an assistant coach now, and he's done a great job with this defensive core.
I love it. Anybody that says those inane things doesn't know him. Isn't he great? Mm-hmm. Isn't he just flipping great?
The other thing, too, you know, he comes in. I'm very lucky. I get to skate with the Oilers alumni twice a month. So I really enjoy going to the alumni skate. Sparky Kolchinski is he handles everything as far as what goes on in the dressing room. Paul Coffey comes pretty well every time. He doesn't skate, but he comes after the Oilers practice because it's always on a game day. He'll come in, he'll say hello, he'll shake some guys' hands. He'll watch, he'll stand on the bench and watch for like 10, 15 minutes, pretty well every skate. He enjoys being around the game. He loves the game. And the Oilers are very lucky to have him in the position he is. It's going to be a one and done. He's not going to be back next year. I would be shocked if that happens. I would imagine he would go back to what his role was before, but pretty lucky to have him in the organization.
Well, that would be a shame if he wasn't. And here, you can appreciate this. We're doing a banquet in Milestone, Saskatchewan, and Coffey's on the mic in front of a sold-out crowd. And he goes, folks, why do we play hockey? And somebody yells out, to have fun. He goes, no, to win. If you want to have fun, buy an RV. Go to Mexico. He goes, you work to play hockey to win, and then you have fun. Winning's fun. but we play hockey to win. And like he had the whole room right in the palm of his hand.
Yeah, you look back at all those teams that were great in the 80s, and Paul left, he left in 86, 87. But those teams in the early 80s, they had fun, and yes, they had fun because they were winning, and they were championship teams, and they were putting up points and putting up wins like nobody's business, and that is why they had fun, because they were successful.
The winning has to come first. Awesome. Dick, thanks. Enjoy the hockey. We'll chat with you in the playoffs.
Sounds good, Ronnie. Take care, man.
The great Kevin Karius of the Kevin Karius Show, Sports 1440 Radio in Edmonton. We'll be back with overtime right after this. We are live on the Game Plus television network, carried across Alberta and BC on TELUS Channel 924, Rogers Shaw Channel 230. Also on WQEE in Atlanta Radio and Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Foreigner, live in Moose Jaw. Foreigner is back. The Farewell Canada Tour. You're as cold as ice. May 13th, the Moose Jaw Event Center. Foreigner, with special guest, Headpins. Tickets on sale now at sasktix.ca and the Moose Jaw Event Center box office.
The race for the Cantera Seed Cup continues on Flow Hockey TV. The SJHL playoffs are on.
60 minutes and who wants it more?
Follow the race for the Cantera Seeds Cup on Flow Hockey TV. The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven. And I'm Connor Bedard. We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
You got something to say? You want to add to the show? What are you waiting for? Don't just sit there. Say something. Now, back to the studio with Rod.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. Boy, it's been a great day today, hasn't it? Talking a lot of NHL. Flip this to the other ear. Now's the time to get a hold of me if you want. 902-518-3033 on your favorite daytime sports talk show across all of Canada on Game Plus TV and 31 U.S. states and Key Radio down there in Atlanta and streaming. I will get to a sports update in a second, but I'm excited. I am buying tonight, meeting a guy on the concourse at the Panthers game. I've had my eye on this for a while to buy one of those baby blue reverse retro jerseys. I thought they would have them forever and found out it was a one-season thing. Last year, as baby blue Panthers with the red and gold shoulders, palm tree on the front. Guy said it's too big for him. I'm like, I'll take it. So we're just talking about what are the nicest jerseys out there right now. Chad watching in Lethbridge says, how about those Montreal Canadiens baby blue? How about them? The ones that they can't win in, so they stop wearing them? They were nice the 3 times, well, I think it was 7 times they wore them, and they just stopped because they couldn't win in them. The Panthers ones are way nicer, I think. Kirk in Toronto is watching on Game Plus television. Hey, you guys at Game Plus, like Jeremy, go tell your bosses. He went out and bought the special package just so he could get Game Plus TV and the RP show. Kirk in Toronto. We're making miracles happen here every day. Kirk says, hi, Rod. Too many leagues to follow for me. I'll stick with CFL, NFL, NHL, MLB. You do you, as you always say. I didn't come up with that. But I do live by it. Whatever makes you happy, man. We have some sports items here on the sports update. The flame that is to burn at the Paris Olympics has been kindled at the site of the ancient games in southern Greece. Cloudy skies frustrated efforts to produce the flame in the customary fashion. Instead, a backup flame was used that had been lit on the same spot during the final rehearsal. The flame will be carried from the ruined temples and sports grounds of ancient Olympia by a relay of torchbearers. Whitey Herzog, the gruff and ingenious Hall of Fame manager who guided the St. Louis Cardinals to 3 pennants and a World Series title, has died. Herzog, affectionately nicknamed the White Rat, was a manager for 18 seasons. He was named Manager of the Year in 1985. Under Herzog, the Cardinals won pennants in 1982, 1985, 1987, and won the World Series in 1982. How about that, Kirk in Toronto? We're around the same age. That early 80s was right in my baseball fandom. I had a Cardinals Ozzie Smith jersey. I did like the Cardinals a lot. So that's sad. Sad one, because we lose another one, Whitey Herzog. Meanwhile, with a week to go in what has been a thrilling ride for fans down the stretch in the National Lacrosse League regular season, 5 teams will be vying for the final 2 spots in the playoffs this weekend. The final weekend in the March to May. The Toronto Rock and San Diego Seals have clinched seeds 1 and 2 and home floor in the quarterfinals and semifinals. Several other teams have clinched playoff berths, but their seeds and first-round matchups are still to be determined. The Albany Firewolves, the Georgia Swarm, defending champion Buffalo Bandits, and Halifax Thunderbirds have secured postseason berths. The final 2 berths will go to 2 of these teams: Panther City, Texas, Vancouver, Saskatchewan, New York, or Rochester. Sports updates brought to you by Landmark Cinemas. Pay attention to this. Wednesdays are made for movie twosomes. You don't need to be Jack and Rose from the Titanic, Han and Chewie from Star Wars, or Mr. and Mrs. Smith, or even Kermit and Miss Piggy to get 2 admissions, 2 drinks, a large popcorn, and your choice of candy for one great low price. But what you do need is a date, because this deal is worth sharing. Landmark Cinemas Movie Twosome every Wednesday. Check out your favorite Landmark Cinemas for showtimes. That's tomorrow. And we're also brought to you by Common Crown Brewing Company, turning your everyday common beer into a unique and exceptional experience. Visit commoncrown.ca. I hate that my MacBook is synced up to my phone because I'm in the middle of reading a sports update and this text comes in. Just flying to Atlanta, but thought we should get John Ryan on the RP show. Oh, we. You got a mouse in your pocket? Now it's we. Okay. I feel like telling him, Clark, we've been trying, right, Clark? The news, he was busy. He's like Seafood Sammy's busy. We'll get it. John Ryan in the news, of course, that he is retiring as a Seattle Seahawks, signing a one-day contract. We'll make it happen. I'm just saying, that's how these things happen. I'm in the middle of doing the show, and my phone goes off, and we should get John Ryan. Oh, should we? Get on it, then. Oh, and then I just plopped into the comments here. Oh, great show. Go Blades. This from Monty. Blades at Red Deer tonight. The Moose Jaw Warriors at Swift Current. We talked about it way back in hour 1. That series is 1-1. We'll be talking about these all tomorrow. Prince George at Kelowna. The Cougars are up 2-0. Game 7 in Melfort tonight. I do not have a rooting interest, just hoping for a good game. Humboldt at Melfort. The winner moves on to take on the Flin Flon Bombers. Hey, Jen, you enjoy the day. NBA playoffs tonight. Lakers at Pelicans. Warriors at Kings. Whatever you watch, enjoy it, everybody. Stay safe. Be good to each other. And thank you, Mandy, for the kind comments. Come back more. We'll see you tomorrow, noon Eastern, right here.
Who has more fun than us?